What's up, guys? It's me, Pez Flips, and as you can see, today is an exciting day again. An exciting day that I have been waiting a really long time for, like a ridiculous amount of time for. I made this purchase when it was actually like first announced. As you can see, it's the CR something, whatever, clone from Arm Shark, and I bought it off of Call-A-Song. And yeah, I bought it on release, and it took like over a month to get to me. There were some issues with the shipping. I think it's partly due because Call-A-Song himself was out on vacation or something. So it didn't get sent out for a while, and then when it did get sent out, the tracking number just wasn't like super accurate. For those of you who are wondering how the fingy's doing, I don't know why you would say it like that, but you do you. It's okay, still not 100%, but I can kind of do some first finger stuff, so just bear with my flips as I'm still in recovery. So, yeah, I picked this up. The tracking, Call-A-Song has used a new tracking now, and it's honestly like not awesome. It's in Chinese, but the customer service was good, and I eventually got a tracking number from them after contacting Call-A-Song himself, and he figured it out for me. So I will say, even though that there are issues, it was a timely response, and even though that the response didn't work immediately, I gave it some time, and eventually the actual code that they gave me did work, and it was in English, which helped. So I don't know. I've noticed that a lot of people have been experiencing slower shipping times currently from Chinese companies. And I'm not like gonna get political, but I will say that given the relations between China currently, I would only expect for those things to increase with time. So I am okay with how long it took, but obviously I wish it was a little faster. So let me stop yapping and start opening. First thing I will say, this box, what happened? Did somebody sit on this? What is happening here? Couldn't open it from that side, so I tore open the side, but you can see that there's some goodies in there. This is the Arm Shark box that comes with Arm Shark products now. Let's see if I can put my knee on it. Do you guys like my PJs? They're corgis, investigating corgis. You guys are going into the dark zone, a little less dark now that I have lights. And I'll open the case so we can just look at it. So there's the case, and if I can get my fingers on it, yeah, I mean, that's the case. Looks like it only holds one, which is a little unfortunate, but honestly, I can't complain. This came in with everything else. I want to say this was about $120, $130. I'm not really familiar off the top of my head. Here we have the Arm Shark box. Nothing else in that package. Not my first Arm Shark purchase. So it's funny to see all the things that they have on this box because a lot of them are kind of out of date now or just not as popular. They have an Orca clone, which is interesting because that's the one trainer that I actually really want, but I'm not trying to drop $1,000 on a Balisong. I'm not crazy. So, yeah. Interesting. T10 bit coming in lovely packaging, I might add, with extra hardware. Looks like pivots, screws, bushings, and that ring. I was actually thinking about putting some of these rings on the Frank Owl to not only give it grip, but give it just a little bit more end weight so that this thing flips a little bit better. I will say that thing does flip very good, so if you're looking for a plastic Balisong, whatever. But that's not why we're here. We're here for this guy. You can see it's a beauty. Now, my understanding is that this guy is titanium, and as such, it will be an excellent canvas for anodizing. Wow. Okay, let's get close. Let me put autofocus on, see if it catches it. I did not know it had texturing on the side. That's actually really cool. It looks like a faux sandwich almost because it has the center line. I wonder if the original is an actual sandwich and this is just channel. This is a pinsless design. You can see there. I want to say this might be Armshark's first pinsless knife, which is interesting. I actually really dig that Armshark logo. You can see AS. Off the bat, I can feel a pretty substantial amount of grip, actually. It's not like digging into my fingers by any means, but the titanium does provide a lot. Ow. Sorry, my finger. The one thing I will say, you have no clue which is which. Whether the safe handle is and the bite handle. Okay. Small amount of play. It's kind of a big handle gap, but with a pinsless design, I feel like they kind of have to almost. Let me turn off autofocus because it's catching the thing behind it. They kind of have to, but at the same time, I would make the argument that I would prefer if the gap wasn't so big. It's not unflippable by any means. Honestly, for this design, it kind of works because these lines work in conjunction with these to kind of come to the tip. That's a very pleasant ring. Doesn't ring on the other side, interestingly. Which makes me believe that there might be some slight tolerance differences between the handles. What I'm feeling here is that there is a lot of end weight, both here on the tip and both here at the ends. You can see that there's a really sizable amount of material that is chunked off here. Let's see how it chaplains. Whoa, got away from me a little bit. Okay, it's actually not that bad of a chaplain. I think because the cutouts for the chaplain area are so deep, it really does help a lot. It reminds me of, honestly, when you think about it, this knife is actually pretty close to like the Asgard Zengetsu, because this guy does have the double cutout. And I want to say they might be made by like the cloned makers or similar. But this guy is definitely a little bit thinner, and there's no texturing on the handles in the same way as this guy. But what you'll see with this one is that because there's like an additional cutout here at the pivot area, the chaplains are actually quite tight, and I kind of get a similar experience with this guy. I will say that the low ring that this provides is actually quite pleasant. Probably one of my favorite things about it that I wasn't super anticipating. The grip is also noticeable, which it's not uncomfortable, and I am somebody who I would rather have something that's more grippy than super comfortable. But this is kind of both. Honestly, like having texturing go up and down makes fanning actually feel quite nice. And the handle geometry is also interesting. If I can kind of demonstrate that, if we get a little closer, you can see that it kind of peaks in the center, and it's not like super. It's not like the most round, but it is sort of similar to something like Nami handles, where you see that there's like a ridge on the side. Actually quite similar, but there's like more of a peak here. The difference is that the Nami provides grip, as you can see, cross-hatched, but I don't think it provides as much in terms of like the milling for fanning particularly. Not that the milling isn't like bad, but just like this particular milling, you'll see, is a lot more substantial for actually providing like feedback on the grip. The jimping is only on the outside, interestingly, and that is shallow jimping. Like that doesn't really go that deep, to be honest. I don't actually feel it that much when flipping. Let's try to do like my signature ladder. It's a little wobbly, honestly. Like I throw out the fan, and it's a little non-standard in how it's fanning. So I'm trying to. I think it is just because the tip weight is so interesting with this one that there is kind of an awkward fanning experience. I'll say as a one like first time trainer, I don't think that this is exactly. Oops, I don't think that this is exactly what a new flipper would want. It's kind of the same issue as the Frank there because it doesn't give feedback on if it is on the bite handle or not. Like I'm looking at it here. What's the bite handle? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of flipping, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. But if you are ever planning on flipping live, this could build some problematic habits. So, like, if you're trying to practice and transfer something over to a live blade, I don't actually love flipping with the rubber rings on them, but you would consider that as an option. Again, I think the biggest thing I'm feeling right now is the wobbliness. It's got some weight to it, but it's not like unbelievably heavy, which it has a lot of material cut out when you look at it. Like if you look on the inside, you can see that it's actually quite thin. Again, a little bit of play. Let's get some oil in there. I'll put thin oil in here because Armshark generally has good tolerances, and while there was a small amount of wiggle, I don't anticipate this needing thick oil. And honestly, as I've matured as a flipper, and as I've had better knives, I really started to move towards thin because thick just gums up your system a lot more. Like it'll pick up hair and stuff, and sometimes it can actually make your sound worse. So yeah, I've been stepping away from using thick oil. It really sings on this handle. It sounds super cool. I actually really enjoy the sound, but those fans are kind of uncomfortable. Let's see how it ladders, because with like the increased gap, I feel like the ladders might feel kind of weird. I'm just hesitant to flip a little bit because of that cut, but I mean, a ladder's fine. Or, sorry, fixed ladders, that is. And, you know, while it's not like the most grippy in terms of the jimping, oh, I'm feeling it. It's starting to roll over a little bit. It's a little hard to keep it in track like so because of these diagonal lines. Yeah, I'm noticing that it's getting off track a little bit. And I've flipped a lot of knives that have had like some funky designs on their handles, like the Thai Kraken, for example. I can keep in the same dimension, in the same plane of flipping easier than I can this guy. This guy seems to escape me a little bit more frequently, but I think part of that is getting used to it. Yeah, so Chaplin's fine. Fan's a little wobbly. Ladders seem fine. It's got a good amount of weight. It's heavier than the Thai Kraken. I'm trying to think of what it might be comparable to. No, it's a little heavier in the hand than the squid. Maybe, where did I put it? You know, actually, yeah, it's actually even heavier than this guy too, which is funny because this one looks like it's heavy just by like the design of it, but this one's actually surprisingly light. This one is lighter than this guy, so this is probably the heaviest ballast knife I currently own now. I will say as well, the inside cutouts of these aren't really chamfered at all. I don't mind if it's not chamfered. I think I'd rather have grip over comfortability. Even though I flip for a long amount of time, I think that grip is more important. But if that's something that matters to you, that's something to be aware of. I wonder if there's like an inlay that could work on the center here, because that's just so much space. It looks super cool. The design on this guy is beautiful. Like, I think that this is such a sick looking trainer. I think that's kind of like why I'm always hesitant with trainers, is that I want something that looks cool as a trainer, like takes advantage of the fact that it isn't a live blade. Like, it doesn't have to follow the same design philosophy. Like, the squid trainer is fine. You know, I think this whole thing is supposed to be quite an understated industrial look, like a lot of Squid Industries products have, but it's a little boring. And when I think of something like the Orca trainer, for example, or this guy, you know, I see something that has a really interesting profile that you don't have with live really. Even though that they both mimic like an actual blade style, I think the fact that they are trainers, but they have like almost their own identity through being a trainer makes them really neat. And I will say that the grip on this is good. It's a little funky. It's not a super traditional ballast song, but it gets it done. I think I just need to spend more time with it. So out of the box, you know, there's going to be that learning adjustment, but this one feels a little bit different compared to a lot of those fellas. So I will say, I wish more companies did this. I wish more companies machined the side of their handles as much as this one. I've never understood why they don't. I just think it's a missed opportunity. It's so much material and it allows you to give so much more personality to your knife. So super, super happy with that. And I like the design of the Arm Shark logo. You know, it makes it stand out a little bit. I think there's supposed to be like an inlay here, or like a cutout for an inlay so that you could put like a zippy insert, or like they have like the ivory inserts or something. Not real ivory, I don't believe, but you'll see that that is there. Looks like it's kind of mucked up, honestly. Let's get really close. Maybe my focus is kind of messed up. Do you see that? It's like the machining is kind of crappy there. That little center dot right there that you can see between is just like messy machining. It looks like that's the case for both of them, which is whatever. You know, I'm not trying to place it that hard. Again, titanium, so I feel like this, I think this is a kind of knife that with the leading lines of this handle texturing would look amazing with a fade ano. Like maybe 2 colors into a fade or something like that. I think that that's what would make this guy shine. Also, something interesting. Can you... Oh, okay. Well, no, it kind of pinches you. But you can get your finger in there, I guess. Oh, yeah, this is what one of the kids did to my finger. So there you go. Yeah, I'll spend more time with it, give you guys a bit more of a concise video. I've just realized now that I've been yapping for 17 minutes, but this is what it sounds like. Yeah, just a little non-standard, but I think that if you took time to flip with this guy, you probably could learn it. Get over like the wobbly fans a little bit, but yeah, this is the SR something 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 by Arm Shark, cloned by Arm Shark, I should say. Let's be a little respectful to the original maker, but there you go.